approving the appointment of Nogales Housing Authority Executive Director. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second. All right. Discussion.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
just one quick question, maybe two. I know there's a resolution for the appointment of Robert Thompson, and there's some supporting documents on the amendment of one of the ordinance. And I see it on the ordinance, if the body, the board was separate from us, it would be fine. But anyways, I don't think any other resolution or order can supersede the order that was passed last Wednesday, June 6th. I think that's the good one. That's the order. Mr. Thompson's been appointed the executive director, and I think no other resolutions can supersede that
Well,
decision.
it doesn't matter if it doesn't supersede. Right now, we're commissioners, back then we're council. So it's better if we do it this way so that we can have it on both appointments. So, does anybody else have any discussion? None? Okay, hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Thompson, did you say aye?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Thompson, did you have something to say in regards to that, sir?
I just want to say, thank you to everybody, commissioners and council members for the appointment. This was brought forth because of the way our ordinance is written. It basically says that the Board of Commissioners must also be part of the appointment process. And, I want to say thank you to everybody. Changing the hats, changing of everything, 24 and a half years in the police department, 6 months acting city manager, and 4 months prior to that as deputy city manager. Thank you, John. Mentorship, priceless. Today, I dedicate myself to 226 families of the Public Housing Authority, 192 recipients of Section 8 vouchers, and we just received or will be receiving an additional 15 vouchers for emergency applications for homeless people, risk of being homeless, people fleeing from domestic violence issues. I just cannot shake the comedy. Little tidbit about myself. I grew up at the housing. I lived right across the street, the very first apartment there on Kitchen Street, 13 years of my life. 2 more on McNabb.
Rick? No, he is. He's going to be the director, but he used to live there.
My first job there, Mr. Chair, Mayor, was a temporary assignment as a maintenance person with Ms. Swanson.
Fíjate.
1992.
Yo estaba chiquito.
So it feels like a complete circle going back, trying to fulfill something. Never once thought I would be in these shoes. I got big shoes to fill, thanks to you. You were there for a significant amount of time, and
I
will
also
be.
lived there.
Monday.
I also lived there.
There we go. So it's kind of cool to see at least 2 of us that went through that. Right now, my dedication is to them. It doesn't change any dedication to the city, especially will not change any dedication to the people I've served for 24 and a half years, people of Nogales. Now we have people outside of Nogales who also benefit from these programs, and I'm here for it. I won't say I'll give you 150% because John and I talked about that in an interview the other day. You'll get the most out of me that I can possibly give because there's always got to be some me time. So with that.
I'm going to tell you, as long as I've met you and since I've met you, and the PD and plus as acting in both positions up here, and as acting, you were also assisting John with housing at the same time. I don't see anybody more qualified than you for this position, and I'm glad you took it on. And actually, I'm very proud of what you've done in the city with that. So, like you said, where you're putting another hat on, and good. I like people that do that because this shows that there's just one thing you're not going to do. You're going to take charge of something, and I know you're going to do a good job.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate the confidence from everybody. Thank you very much.
Do you have anything, John?
I do, Mr. Mayor, if you'll permit me.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to say that this board made a fine selection in selecting Mr. Thompson to be your housing director. As the previous housing director left to go be a city manager in the city of Miami, I started looking out because I needed somebody. I needed some help. And I looked at internal staff, and none of the internal staff was willing to step up and take over for the housing. And there was a young man sitting over there helping me with running the city who said, "You know what, John, I'll do it. Give me a chance. I'll go over there and I'll do both jobs." And he did, and he took on both jobs. And in my opinion, my humble opinion, he's been doing an excellent job. He comes to work every day. He's usually the first one here. He usually beats me, Mr. Mayor, and he's usually the last one out of
He
here.
even beats my assistant.
He does. He's over taking care of business at the housing, day or night, Saturday or Sunday. His interest, right, is not in that paycheck, I can tell you. He's not interested in the paycheck. He's interested in continuing his career and continuing doing something for the city. I'm very proud of that appointment, and I stand by 100% of my recommendation and your guys' recommendation. I really appreciate the unanimous vote that he got today as the housing director from this commission, and I applaud you all for doing that. Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you very much, John.
Mr. Mayor, with that, can I be excused and I'll let the housing director take over?
Yes, now he's on duty.
Mayor, before Mr. Kissinger leaves, I noticed that this is just an in-house cleanup. On the agendas, it's attested by Mr. Robert Thompson as acting city manager. But he is the executive director of the housing authority right now, right?
Yes.
Rule 6.
Yeah, so it's only been since the 9th, so you got to give us a chance to get the encode cleaned up a little bit. If you notice, and I apologize, you got an email from Teresita Ibarra about, I guarantee that the very next agenda, like I said, it's only been for the 9th, we've been really busy, but it'll be from the housing director, Mr. Thompson, from now on, and the signatures on these will be from
Yes.
Mr. Thompson and what have
Yes.
you. So we promise we'll get there very soon, Hector.
Thank you.
So I apologize for that. We'll have those corrected, if you could, if any signatures are needed, that we make sure that he's documented as a housing
I'm
director.
writing them right here.
Yeah.
What we need to.
It's just some house cleaning stuff.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
We got to get Jose and those guys into.
Perfect, John. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, may I be excused?
Yes, sir. Yes.
For the rest of the day, sir.
Oh, no. Te faltan 3 horas, mijo. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
La soleada.
Por la soleada que se pegó esta mañana. I thought you were going to say you're going to take the rest of the day, too. No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I just want to, I was thinking the other day of the meeting about who else would be the right person for the job. And I went through all the departments, to be honest, because I don't want people to think that we did it, these behind doors and we selected Mr. Thompson because that was what we wanted. And I wanted to make sure I went through everybody in the city, and I didn't find one person, to be honest, one person more capable than him.
Yeah.
So again, I'm very proud that you accepted the job.
Thank you.
And I know you're gonna do a good job. Whatever they say, I don't really care, because I know you are capable for the job.
Yeah.
And welcome and enjoy it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. Thank you.
If he messes up, just let me know.
No. Okay, we'll start with number 2. Consideration possible action on Housing Resolution 2021-06-15, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Housing Authority of the City of Nogales approving and adopting the PHA 5-year action plan for FY 2021-2025.
So move here.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Thompson.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, there was a change in our direction with HUD as of last year. We had submitted in 2019 or 2020, a PHA plan for the next 5 years. Because there was a change in direction from HUD, it was either A, to submit a 5-year plan today and run with it, or B, wait for another year and submit it. We chose to do it this year. Basically, what we did is we took the first 4 years, put them in the forefront, added an additional year at the end. This is a roadmap, per se, similar to the budget we talked about a couple weeks ago for the city itself. This can veer into any direction we see fit or as necessary as we learn during the pandemic, we hit a lot of brick walls, inadvertently or unfortunately because of that. So that year basically was scrapped on things that we could or couldn't do, and that's what prompted HUD for us to make this change. We're moving out of the pandemic, as we heard this morning. We're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Therefore, it's probably just best to do the 5-year plan. This can change at any given time. It's a roadmap. Depending on the needs of our residents, depending on the needs of the structures, this will change. So this is just something for us to work off of.
Thank you very much. Did you have
Yeah.
something to say? Go ahead.
I've talked to Mr. Thompson about this, we're talking about the 5-year plan, right? And I know that we approved one like a year and a half ago, or maybe more.
I think I presented at that time.
So my question is, because it's been a really busy week, going through the budget and all the other stuff, and the audit, and I hadn't had a chance to really go into the 5-year plan. Is there any changes to the one that was submitted a year and a half ago, big changes?
Nothing big. Basically, what we did was the first 4 years we kept, and we just added the 2025 year. So 2025 is everything that's new.
Okay. And the annual plan that we approved a couple of months ago or a month ago, is that included in the?
It's incorporated in this one, yes.
Right.
So basically, we have the annual plan
Yeah.
incorporated for year 1, 3 years that were for our prior 4 years, plus a new one, 2025.
Okay, that's all.
Okay, anything else? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. 3, consideration possible action on Housing Resolution 2021-06-16, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Housing Authority of the City of Nogales approving the transfer of the certificate of deposit with J.P. Morgan Chase Bank.
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Thomas.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, some of our CDs have matured, and to remain or have them remain in the bank, in the custody or the management of the bank at this point would draw penalties. Those penalties right now are unknown, as we won't know what that penalty will be until we move those out. This one and the following one both matured at the end of May. We have on a handshake per se, at least on a phone call, that those penalties may be moved because we did have some mitigating circumstances to push these meetings out, push the council meeting out, we pushed this meeting out. So the banks, both banking facilities are okay with the fact that we had something happen. So with that said, we just want to take this money out, put it back into our accounts payable accounts that are managed by our in-house finance team, Terry Ibarra. It'll just make things easier for us to be able to move those dollar amounts around for the use of the housing. Yeah,
All right.
this is just a $10,000 housekeeping issue.
Yes.
I think this is the second one this year.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Number 4, consideration possible action on Housing Resolution 2021-06-17, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Housing Authority of the City of Nogales approving the transfer of the certificate of deposit with Wells Fargo Bank.
Second.
Discussion. Same. Go ahead,
Mr. Chairman, same discussion, members of the commission. It is the same, this one's just a bigger amount. CDs were the thing to do back in the 80s and 90s and partial 2000s. Things mature. At this point, they remain in the management of the bank, we start losing money.
Okay. Everybody okay? Okay, hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, future agenda items. Mr. Thompson, do you have anything?
We have none. We are in the process of convening the residential advisory board to seek out, I think we have a name for our replacement after the passing of Ms. Pineda for our Section 8 person, or clientele, I should say. So once we have that, we'll bring that recommendation to the commission for approval. Hopefully July.
Perfect. And one thing I want to tell the members of the council, because I was brought to my attention that we haven't presented, that we did not present this in an early, timely manner. That's why some of the council are not here. I'm gonna tell you one thing. Everybody knows that the Housing Authority Council Commissioners, we meet the Wednesday after the council meeting. Okay? So if we skip our council meeting because of certain reasons, the following Wednesday we have the meeting. Okay, so everybody knew that, but it seems like some people don't know that. Well, I'm just repeating it so people will understand. If we have our scheduled meeting on the first Wednesday of the month at 6 o'clock, the following Wednesday, we will have the Housing Commissioner meeting. Okay? And it's not going to change. Only if we miss our regular session meeting, then we'll skip and we'll go to the following week. So, just for the record, all right? That's the way it is. So, if somebody says, well, I wasn't informed until 2 days ago that I was going to have a meeting. Well, I'm informing you now. That's the way it is, and that's the way it's going to be. And Mr. Thompson, you're going to be taking charge of that agenda
Yes, sir.
from now on. Just make sure that they have the agenda with a timely manner.
Absolutely.
So in case they need to read it, and beforehand, before they come to the meeting.
And I know, Mr. Chairman, that we tried to do it last Wednesday, but I think we would have fried everybody on the council.
No, it was
It
a
was
tough
huge,
one. And
yeah.
we were doing everything with the budget and everything was happening. And then, it's been a tough one. I know, and it's been tough for you too because of the situation with the PD at the time and with the officer and everything. All of those things have, catch up. And we have to take that under, some people have to take that in consideration, when things happen. So, we have to, let's do the best we can to get the agenda and make sure some members of the council get it with 2 or 3 days before, Mr. Thompson, so
Yes, sir.
they can get a chance to read it. Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, go ahead.
just make a comment. I know that sometimes the Housing Authority doesn't have a meeting every month. Like on the last director, I know that he skipped a couple of months, and sometimes other directors skip more than that. So it would be nice to, after the council meeting, the mayor and council meeting, if we were advised, we're not having a meeting next week, so, because we have plans too. We make plans
Exactly.
and we have doctor's appointments and stuff like that. And it's good to know before.
Yeah, well, it's up to him to tell us that. But we have it scheduled. It is scheduled. And it's been scheduled like that since I took office. That is the following Wednesday after our scheduled meeting. That's the way it is. If you decide not to have one, then just inform us.
And I will do my best, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, to notify, hopefully, as the commissioner has stated right after the council meeting.
Yes.
Say yay or nay if we're having one. I'll work closer with Ms. Robinson over there with our clerk to make sure that the agendas go out at the same time as well.
Yes.
So typically, our housing agendas are light comparison to council. I learned that firsthand, so hopefully we can get those out at the same time.
And basically, we used to have, in my previous administration, we used to have the housing meeting before. Remember, Esther? Before the regular session. I'd rather have it this way the following Wednesday, because otherwise we have too much to deal with at one time, especially if our regular session meeting has a bigger package than your housing ones. But I'm sure you can take care of that, inform us, and make sure that we get everything in time.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I'll be a pleasure, excuse me, it'll be a pleasure to help Mr. Thompson. So and I say we because I like to help him get the agenda in the manner that you are just requesting.
Thank you, Letty.
And when there's no meeting, help him out, make sure that you guys all know that there will be a meeting.
Thank you.
So I'll be glad to help him to get the agenda going.
Perfect.
And
Thank you.
if there's something I've learned, she's on it.
Good teamwork. All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Can I put something on the future agenda?
Go ahead.
Can we have a status of the Section 8 voucher program? How, if it's, are we still behind? You said 16 vouchers?
It was 16, I think we're down to 10, but we got an additional emergency 15, or we should be getting it sometime in July, if not early August. So, but those will be managed differently. There's really no waiting list on those.
But so we're talking about like 30 almost?
10 current Section 8 vouchers, your HCVs, your housing choice vouchers, and we're getting an additional 15 emergency choice or emergency housing vouchers because of the pandemic. So those will be managed differently. Same rules, just different approach.
What about the funding for those 15 vouchers?
We
Is
should,
it going to be like a year-round thing? Or?
it's got a 2-year time limit. So let's say we got family A that comes in and they get into the program. They're self-sustained in 4 months because it's just a target homelessness or approaching homelessness, and they now become self-sustained. Then that voucher can automatically be diverted to somebody else. But those vouchers will expire at the 2-year mark. So that's the challenge.
Okay.
If we get families in on those 15 emergency vouchers, the challenge is to put them onto the regular housing vouchers as best suited. I don't know if I made myself clear
Do
enough.
they get priority over the original Section 8?
There's criteria. So the 3 points of criteria that we have for those 15 are if you're homeless, if you're almost homeless, or if you're fleeing from a toxic DV relationship, domestic violence relationship. They are at the top of the list right now. We've contracted Seago. They will be assisting us in identifying these families through all of our community outreach programs. Very little in Santa Cruz County, and I've known that for years. But Seago took on the challenge. There is a cost that's being absorbed as well through the program, and hopefully we'll get those 15 families in quickly.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thompson. Okay, this meeting's adjourned.
Okay.